solution. It kept the economy as the base of his theory also, and all the problems that is arising in the society, and the solution everything depend on the base which he thought as economy. Okay, so some works of Karl Marx is Communist Manifesto, which he wrote in the year 1848, The Capitalist, 1867, Contribution to the Critique of Political Economy in 1859, The Poverty of Philosophy, 1847, A Critical Political Economy, 1952, The German Ideology, 1845. Okay, so after that, let's move to class. The word class originated from a Latin word, which is classis, which means a group of arms or a division of people. And Marx clearly came up with the clear view of class in his book, which is Capital, which he wrote in the year 1894. So now let's move to the topic, Marxian view of class struggle. So class struggle. So according to Marx, he determined class into two major criteria. Social class, that is objective criteria and subjective criteria. Objective criteria means objective criteria means the people sharing relationship, keeping the means of production as the same. Means like the means of production is the bonding between the people, which is described as class in itself. So the how the criteria is, how it will be seen, or how we are united. Say everyone is you, the students of political science, students of history, students of sociology, students of English, they all are united. How? They are the students of Holy Cross College. This is the class in itself. They are the students of Holy Cross College. They are shared. Now, there is a subjective criteria that the member of a specific class is the same group of people having same identity, same occupation, same culture, like this, and the class happens. So the subjective criteria is members of, in objective they don't have a consciousness that they are something, means they are political science students don't have, in that criteria they don't have the consciousness that they are political science students. They think themselves as the students of Holy Cross College. But in the subjective criteria, the students of political science will be conscious about that they are belonging to political science. History students will say yes, they are belonging to history. So in terms of Marx, they all, means the laborer and the owners, they all are related to each other, they all are connected to each other regarding the production. That they are producing books, they are producing cloths, they are producing copies. But when subjective criteria, the owners, they have the consciousness that they are the owners, and the laborers, they have the consciousness that they are laborers, irrespective of in which factory they work, in which country they work, in which skill they are skilled, but they are united as a laborer. So the subjective or the objective modes of production, what I was talking about in the subjective criteria, the modes of the owner or the laborer, they are connected by the modes of production. So how this happen? Modes of production is divided into two parts, that is production relation and production force. Production force is the laborer, the things that are required, the raw materials, everything, capital, everything. This is production force. What do we see? The production force remains constant. It is gone because the production is going on. But the relation, production relation means the relation between the owner and the laborer, or the people of the, means the professor with the students. How if you see it in perspective of our college, the professor and the students. So what happen if the relation between the professor and the students doesn't go well, then the academics will not go in proper way. In terms of Karl Marx theory, in terms of Karl Marx, the relation between the labor and the owner, what we say in his language is have-nots, haves and have-nots. The relation between the haves and the have-nots should be good. How it should be good? The mode of production, the excessive income, it should be shared with the excessive income should be shared with the laborers, so that they are not a problem. Because see, the excessive income that take place, which what does the surplus value, what the surplus value, what the owner takes the surplus value, it is not given to the surplus income, it is not given to the laborers. So what happened, Marx said that the exploitation takes place, due to this exploitation takes place of the laborers who is giving the labor to maintain the workforce. So Marx think that when this exploitation will not take place, the relation, the production relation and the production force will go in hand, or go together, or remain the same, then the production will take place, or the good production will come up. So when the classification of classes and the emergence of societies, if we see, according to Marx, you have studied in dialectical materialism that there are 5 societies, according to him, which he thinks will be coming, and he predicted that like this will happen. There will be 2 classes, there will be a revolution, or there will be a revolt by the lower classes, then a society will be changed. So before that, let's move that the first line of his Communist Manifesto. What is it? The history of all the hitherto existing societies is the history of class struggle, which clearly means the history of the pre-existing societies. The history of the pre-existing societies is the history of the class struggle. Surely, the society, according to him, the society changes due to the class struggle and the revolt of the lower class. In primitive society, there is no class. All are equal, all have access to the everything, all can do farming on any land, all can acquire that water, all can take fruits from anywhere, while all can, means hunt, all can do anything. Means it was open, there was no boundary of private properties or something like that. There is no private properties, or the property of this is my property was not there. Everything what belongs, it belongs to the community. So when it came to the slave society, after evolution, when it came to the slave society, then the theory or the thinking or the mindset of private property came into being. From then, there started existing 2 classes. First one was slaves and the slave masters. What you say? Slaves and the slaves masters. So what they do, they go on depriving the slaves. So after a certain period of time, the slaves revolted against their masters, and a new society came into being. That is feudal society. Feudal society, there were two classes, that was feudal lords and serfs. Feudal lord in the society, again the same thing happened. The feudal lords started dominating on the serfs. The feudal lords started depriving the serfs. After that, the serfs revolted against the feudal lords. Then came the capitalist system. In the capitalist system, now we see the capitalists, the bourgeoisie and the proletariats. That is, the capitalist and the labor class. So what happened? Big businessmen, big industrialists or the capitalists, what they do, they go on depriving the laborers. They are who are working in their factories, in their offices. They try to deprive. So according to Marx, when capitalism or this deprivation will be at its peak, then the labor class will revolt against the capitalist or the bourgeoisie. Then a new society will come. New society, that will be socialism, socialist society. Their society will, there will be existence of state. There will be rule by the labor class. Means everyone will be labor class. Everyone, there will be no there will be no, what to say, there will be no people to deprive. All will be labor, and there will be only one class. There will be classless society. Means only one class. There will be, all will be labor class. But after that, when socialism will be at its peak, after cultural revolution, after this equal distribution law, everything. So after that, it will go to, automatically after socialism, communism will come. In communism, there will be no existence of state. It will be free. People will be paid according. People will be paid according to their need. People will get whatever they want. It will be equal for, means equality for everyone, because everyone will get according to their need. And the only problem is, after that, Marx did not say what will happen if revolution comes in the communist society. It may come, because society means change, so it may change. So Marx did not say what after that. So now criticisms, that much what I had to explain you. Now you say me about the criticisms. What is the what are the criticisms of Marx theory? Now you say, what are the criticisms of Marx theory? Tell. I said the theory, I explained the theory, now it's your turn to say the criticism. Or else, if you did not understand anything, ask the question, or if any point is not clear, I will explain again. Tell. Please respond, or else I don't understand whether I am able to make you understand, or else you have questions or not. I will not understand. So speak up, tell your queries, tell your questions. Please tell the criticisms, because without the criticisms you cannot finish your answer. So tell me the criticisms now. Please respond.
I don't understand anything.
You?
Brother, I don't understand anything.
Okay, which part you did not understand? Anything you did not understand?
Yes, because I was joining just now, because no network.
No network. Acha. Wait. Acha. I'll explain you. I'll explain for you again. But what about others? Please say the criticisms. Because I'm not. I'm not a teacher to take. I mean, I'm not a professor. Wait. Hmm. Good. Yeah. Any other point? At least you have to write 5 criticisms. Only one came. We need more 4 criticisms. No, not Snigdha. Anyone else, if you can say, because not only she will answer. Everyone have to participate. So anyone else can say more 4 points.
Like
Karl
Marx
Marx has not mentioned about a middle class. Karl Marx has not mentioned about the middle class.
Okay. Anyone else?
like Marx has ignored social conditions and he has failed to distinguish between the social and the economic classes.
Good. Acha, 3. One more. Tell. One more point. Marxian classless societies, what they say. See, the power will be hand in the communist parties. The ultimate power means when it will be socialism or communism, the power will lies in the hand of the communist party or the labor class. In the sense of labor class, he means the communist or the communist means people who believe in the communist ideologies. So it may have been a what to say a political misuse, or they may misuse the power. They may turn it into a dictatorship or what to say dictatorship or the one party rule or something like that. So that point also you can include. So anyone, acha, for Joseph, I'll explain again. Others, did you all understand the topic? Means what I explained. Did you all understood? Hello. No, your voice is not audible.
Yeah, I understand.
Others? Acha. Acha. Sir. Sir?
Yes, sir.
Sir, only Joseph did not understand, so other understand. So means everyone will remain back, or they will go, or Joseph will stay back. So which one you will prefer? Because
So-
sir, it will be boring for them because I'll be explaining again from first to last.
Okay, you do one thing, okay? Because we'll conclude all together. Together we will conclude it, okay? But the thing is that if you can, okay, within 5 minutes, summarize your topic, then you try to summarize it. It will be helpful, okay?
Okay, sir.
If you can summarize within 5 or 6 minutes, okay?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You can discuss what is class and how class struggle started, and then that's it.
Okay, sir. Okay. Acha. Joseph, now your network is okay now.
Okay, okay.
Acha. So basically we are talking about class struggle. So class explained by Marx, there is two part of class. There is two part which is to identify class, that is objective criteria, and another one is subjective criteria. In objective criteria you will see like some particular broad base will be common. In the college if you take, you means we students and the teachers have the same identity or the same connection, that is we belongs to the Holy Cross College. That is the objective criteria, and it is described as class in itself. Understood? Oh Joseph, respond or else I'll
Yes, brother, I understood.
Acha.
Yes.
And subjective criteria will be the members of one. See, here in what to say, in Holy Cross College, there are teachers and the students. What I said, and students will have the consciousness. They will think that yes, we are in a broad umbrella. We are the members of the Holy Cross College, or we are the members of the Holy Cross family. But when they will be conscious that we are students, or the teachers have the consciousness that we are teachers, means like this the class, there are two classes. Means I am explaining in this manner that in Holy Cross, if you say as the society, there are two classes. You take the classes as teachers and the students. So it will be like that will in objective criteria there will be a common broad base that we are the member of the Holy Cross family. Or in society, how Marx see the matter, then the labor and the owner of the factory will be united by one thing, that they are producing books, they are producing copy, or they are the member of that company, or they are member of that factory. But in the subjective criteria, both in if you see in the Holy Cross perspective, then the students will be get the consciousness that they are students, and the teachers classmates in Holy Cross, if you take the example of Holy Cross, a teacher will have the consciousness that they are teachers. So they have the consciousness of their own group, own identity, specific group. So again, in students, they will have they are the I am the students of political science, I am the student of sociology, I am the student of English, history, botany, human physiology. And in society, how Marx explained it is that a laborer, they will be have their own, because they are laborers, irrespective of where they work. They will be united as their class identity, that they are laborers, and the owners, they will have their own consciousness of their own identity, that they are owners or the bourgeoisie. And in this in this subjective criteria, there are two parts. This is the what I said about not subjective criteria, what I said about the mode of the production. In mode of production, there are two parts, that is production relation and production force. Production relation is that the laborers who are giving the labor, the raw material, the things that is used to make the things. And the production relation is the relation between the owner and the laborer. So what happened, the surplus value on the surplus income doesn't get distributed among the surplus income or the profit of the income after which the owner get after selling the output of the labor that the labor class is giving. So when the profit he take away, he does don't distribute it or don't equally distribute it among his labor, which is labor, then deprivation takes place. And the production relation, the relation between the owner and the labor get widened day by day. So what Marx said, the production relation and the production force, because the production is going on, every day production force is released. Every production is taking place, the laborers are producing, but the relation is getting widened. So what Marx said, the production relation and production force should work equally, it should go hand in hand, it should go parallel, so that the production, the output, the quality will be good, the output will be good. Or else, see, it may happen also now. The laborer, he can produce 100 pens a day, he will produce only 50. So, and he may not produce that much nice pen which he was producing, because he is not paid for what he is, because the owner is taking the surplus income, the profit which he is getting from the labor that the labor is giving. Okay, and last is the societies, how Marx. So this is the class, and when this class system, we see the history of the society and the class struggle. You see, in the primitive society, there was no private properties, all were equal, all were able to access any type of land, tree, plant, forest, means animals, they can hunt, they can eat, they can use any land. Means there was no private property, everything belonged to the community. So after that, what became the slave? The slave, in the slave society, there came the existence of the private property. So there were two classes, which was slave masters and the slaves. So the masters continued depriving the slaves. They were forced to work for the masters without any pay. They were kept in unhygienic conditions and many more things. So after a time, when the deprivation was at its peak, the slaves revolted against the slave masters. Because what we see, the slave masters. Hello, I'm audible? The slave masters were less in number, but the majority of the population were the slaves. But what happened? They were deprived. So after that, they revolted against the masters, and there came the new society, which is feudal society. And there also again two classes existed. One was feudal lords and the serfs. So in feudal society, again the feudal lords did the same thing which the slave masters did to the slave. They started depriving them. They were forced to work again. What happened in the slave society? The same thing started happening. They started forcing them to work for free. They were not paid. They were not treated equally. They were deprived from many things. Then again, the serfs revolted against the feudal lords, and the new society came into existence, which we are presently in. That is capitalist society, where there will be two classes, which Marx said, haves and the have-nots, which Marx said, and the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. So the big capitalist or the big industrialists, they started, they are depriving. So they are already depriving the laborers of the factories, of their offices. And Marx said that when this deprivation will be at its peak, when capitalism will be at its peak, then the labor class, everyone are laborers. Even our if you see in a broad base, our professors, everyone, the people who are working in a factory, everyone laborers. So they will revolt against the capitalist or the industrialist or the people who are having the large share of less number of people who are having the large share of wealth. People and the labor class will revolt against them, and a new society will come into existence, which will be socialist society or the socialism. What we say, there will be no, there will be existence of the state, but there will be a equality. People will be paid according to their work. Equality means, yes, they will be provided health care, everything. There will be equal facilities for them, but they will be paid according to their work. And after that, when socialism will be at its peak after Cultural Revolution and everything, then there comes the existence of communist society, where there will be no. Oh, sorry. In socialism, one point I have missed. In socialism, there will be rule of only one class. That will be labor class, which we can say the rule of the communist parties or the communist-minded people, means the labor class, and they will be headed by the communist-minded people or the communist parties or the communist leaders. But in communist society, it will be completely stateless. Everyone will be having the access to everything, and everyone in communist society, everyone will be paid according to their need. So, and Marx did not say about what should be coming, means what shortcomings of the communist society and how if the revolution comes in the communist society, what will happen. Marx did not say that. And after that, we discuss about the criticism where you were there. So now, are you clear about the topic or not? Joseph, are you clear?
Yes, brother. Understand. Clear.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Alright, Shubhadi, over your class.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, though I did not actually listen the entire class because I was involved in some other work, right? But I hope that, all of you got some idea about the class struggle, right? So since we have 5 minute time, just I'll say a few words. See, this concept is very, very important, and this concept is given by who? Karl Marx, right? In fact, if you studied about Karl Marx, okay, there was a time when almost, his idea, his whole idea, okay, was so revolutionary that there was a time when actually almost out of every 10 country, okay, in the world, at least 4 countries used to follow or got influenced by the idea of Karl Marx. You can understand from this you can understand the magnitude of his influence, right? Karl Marx ideas influence. So, and he discussed about many concepts, many ideas, many theories, right? And class struggle is only one of them. And in fact, through the class struggle, okay, we actually we can get some idea, okay, how our society evolved according to Karl Marx, right? So very simple. This concept actually talks about how our society evolved from one stage to another stage, right? So as he rightly, said few very important concepts like mode of production, right? If you understand the mode of production forces and all, it will be very clear to you the concept of class struggle. First of all, what is class? Okay, if I summarize, okay, what he said, or in a simple way, class is, from this class you should learn at least one sentence at least. Okay, this is my objective, nothing else. Okay, class is nothing but simply a group of people, right, who belong to the same position in the forces of production. Okay, what I said, a class is nothing but a group of people who belongs to same position in the process of production. Means what? Means simple. In order to produce any product, okay, in a factory there will be some owner, right? There will be someone owner, right? And there will be some a few workers also, right? You understand? Now, if the people, okay, those people who are worker, okay, they are in the same position, everyone. So they are worker. They are separate class. Okay. and those who are owner of the factories, they are considered the separate class. Understood? So class is simply a group of people who belong to the same position in the process of production. So those people who are who holds the position of laborer, they are labor class. Those people who actually owning the different industries and business, they are capitalist class. Very simple. Now, how we will understand which class is dominant and which is dominant and which is dominated? Very simple. If you understand the mode of production, in the mode of production slide, he said that there are two elements of mode of production, right? One said what? One I have seen that one he said what?
Production relation and production force.
Production relation and production force. Now, production force are those necessary tools, materials, money, manpower, everything. Okay, so using we can produce any product, right, in the factory. These are production forces. Okay, and how you are related with these forces of production. Okay, what is your relation with the forces of production? Okay, that will determine whether you are a dominant class or dominated class. If you own these sources of production, forces of production, okay, then you becomes what? Dominant class in the society. Like for example, business owner, industrialist, they own the company, right? They own the money and machines, right? Everything. So these are forces of production, and since these are owned by the businessman, industrialists, that's why they are dominant class or capitalist class, right? And those who doesn't own these forces of production, they becomes what? Dominated class. Now there are different names of this dominant class and dominated class in different stages of society. As he said that in the primitive communism there was no class division. There was no class. Why? Because people used to live the hunter-gatherer life. Okay, everyone can go. Anyone can go to the forest and can bring anything, because forest belongs to everyone that time. Okay, there was no concept of private ownership system. But with the passing of time, what happened? The concept of private ownership or sense of ownership developed. People started owning the land, agriculture and all. As a result, some people started owning. In a simple nutshell, I'm telling you, because we don't have time, only 1 minute left, right? Some people started owning the forces of production. And those who started owning the forces of production, they became dominant class in the society. So in case of slave society, master was the dominant. In case of feudal society, feudal lord was dominant class. In case of capitalist society, capitalist class or bourgeois was the dominant class. Okay. So in this way, and this class actually emerged. Understood? And one thing just I'd like to add here in last, that in the socialists, when we will through the revolution, when we will establish, according to Karl Marx, when communism will communist country, not communist, socialist country will came into existence. Okay, that time, okay, since it is it will establish through the revolution. Okay, as a result, when the proletariat class, okay, they will actually the worker class people, they will act like a dictator. Why? Because so many time, for long time they got actually exploited by the dominant class, right, in society. So after coming into power, okay, they will start destroying all the features which was responsible for establishing capitalist society, like private ownership system. They will destroy, right? What they will do? They will destroy the other classes also from the society. So it is not like that there will be no capitalist feature in the socialist system. Remember, always it is wrong. Okay, so there will be some features of capitalist, but this capitalist class people, they will be very weak. Okay, they will be very, very weak, because already political power is in the hand of worker class, and this worker class will use this political power to what? For abolishing all this capitalist feature from the society. This way, in this way, our society will actually progress towards a new stage of society, which is known as communism, where there will be no private ownership. And since there is no private ownership, there will be no state, because state established, according to Karl Marx, for what? For protection of private property, for exploiting dominant class by the dominated class by the dominant. Understood? So since there will be no class in the communism, since there will be no private ownership system, as a result, there will be no class also. There will be no state. There will be no need for the state. And as a result, as he said, Subhadeep said, everyone will work according to their needs, and everyone will, everyone will work according to their capacity, and everyone will get according to their needs. Okay. So this is the highest stage of development of our society according to Karl Marx. Okay, this is in a nutshell what is caste struggle. Since I'm not taking this class, and he also tried very well. And see, in first attempt, okay, everyone actually get some nervous and all, but still he did well, I think. Okay. So, any other question from any one of you? Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yes, sir, clear.
All right. So yeah. So thank you, Shubhadeep, for joining. And when there will be
And
when school will college will open, okay.
sir,
Yeah, you go ahead.
thank you for your cooperation. I think I could make you all understand about the topic. And yes, if you need any help, you are free to contact us. Any of our fifth semester students. So we'll help you anytime if you want any help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shubhadeep. Yeah. So dear student, okay, that's it for today's discussion. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Actually, I wanted to say that when there will be offline classes will start. Okay. That time we'll arrange some other classes, face-to-face classes by the student. Okay. And all of you also, if you want, you can also teach. If in fact your in your class also you can teach if you want. Only one class you will get permission. Okay, not more than that. Okay, if you want. And when all of you will be in the second semester, you will get opportunity to take one or two classes in the first semester. Okay. So okay, I'm sharing now attendance link.
Sir, I'm leaving.
Yeah. Thank you, Shubhadeep. I hope all of you understood or at least got something from this discussion. Though I didn't listen to everything. Okay. So if you need, then I will be discussing again on this issue. Okay. If you need, you can